I titled my piece for the CUFA website, Social Studies and Gender, the Glass Half Full, with a question mark at the end. And the reason that I did this was because I think we really do have a mixed picture in social studies research regarding gender. For the purposes of this brief presentation, I'm going to highlight three of those. They're really paradoxes about where we are in terms of research on gender in the field of social studies. The good news is, on one level, that the recent Handbook for Research and Social Studies Education, edited by Linda Levstick and Cynthia Tyson, found that issues of gender ranked 6th in terms of the number of times that they appeared in theory and research in social education. That's not bad, but given how pervasive gender is to our lives and certainly the world of education, that's not so great either. And when we contrast the position of gender in social studies research with the role that it's taken in, for example, the discipline of history, we see a marked contrast. In history, women's history is one of the most vital and vibrant fields in terms of theorizing, in terms of producing new knowledge. There's been an incredible energy and excitement over the last 20 years on issues of gender, issues of sexuality in women's history. So it's not the case, certainly, that social studies should be the handmaiden to the disciplines, but when we see such a marked contrast between what's going on in the discipline that arguably is the centerpiece of social studies, that is history, it raises some questions about why social studies researchers haven't been more attuned to what's going on in what might be considered the parent discipline of our field. So that's the first example of this paradox. The second example of the paradox, again, I'll begin with kind of a good news story. Recently, Sam Weinberg and Chauncey Montesano did research on what they call famous Americans. And they put the charge to 2,000 high school students and 2,000 adults to name 10 famous Americans who were neither presidents nor wives of presidents. And the good news is that on both lists, 6 of the 10 individuals whose names appeared most frequently were women. Martin Luther King topped the list, but Rosa Parks was close behind and placed number 2. Harriet Tubman was number 3, I believe. But overall, 6 of the top 10 names were women. So we see that kids are learning, and adults do recognize the contributions that women have made to social studies and its related disciplines. Still, other research indicates that the coverage of women in textbooks, the most popular textbooks used in K-12 schooling to teach history, American history and world history to the next generation, show a very different picture. Although progress has been made over the last 20 years, still only about 10% of the coverage in American history textbooks and only 5% of the coverage in global or world history textbooks has to do with women. So again, we've got a disconnect. Finally, I want to point out that in the last week or so, the President has established a White House Council on Women. And the reason that he did this is because women continue to earn only 78%, or 78 cents for every dollar that men earn. Women have made a great deal of progress in this country and in other countries, but we still have a lag or a difference when we look at girl children globally and their situation, and when we look at other marginalized groups such as gays and lesbians. We know that the situation isn't uniformly positive, and these are issues I think that we should be bringing up in social studies. So what we're left with here are a set of paradoxes around women, around gender, around sexuality that need to be engaged by our field. Is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? Well, I think it depends very much on where you look. And my wish for social studies is that as a field, it looks more often at these issues in its research. Thank you.